What's going on, friends? It's your friendly neighborhood caveman coming back at you from Mars. So I've been thinking about superintelligence here. I've been kind of just sitting around thinking, this sucks, but how much does it really suck? Because what superintelligence is supposed to be is a system that's better than humans at everything forever, right? Now I want you guys to consider something for 1 second, right? We have this AI thing. It's supposed to solve problems that we as human beings wouldn't be able to solve, theoretically. First of all, no. And I'll get back to the whole big fat no in a second. But let's say we create this super intelligent system, right? It's super intelligent. It is better than humans. It's better than every human at every task. Well, my brain's like 4 pounds. My brain's the size of a football. It's something smaller than that, but it's especially mine. Mine's like real small. But, our brains are pretty small. An AI data center for super intelligence, it's multiple data centers. It's going to be massive, okay? My brain is way more efficient than this super intelligent thing that we're assuming is superior to we are. It's just not. All throughout history, people have always said, we're never going to be able to understand this, that, or the other thing. We can't understand the heavens. That's God's work. And then we came up with astrology and we described it. We invented math. We invented fucking calculus. We understand biology now. We couldn't understand life before. We didn't know why things rotted, and now we understand that there's microbial life, there's tiny little bugs. People were like, I don't know if you can divide this material infinitely or not. And then we discovered you can't. And that's nuclear physics. If God wanted man to fly, he would have given him wings. We'll never understand how to fly. And then we understood how to fly. And then we went to the fucking moon 60 years after that. You guys get my point. Every single time throughout history, forever, there's been things that we don't understand. But given enough time, we understand things. We understand forces of nature that are people in ancient history would literally just explode if you explained it to them. Like quantum physics. Try explaining that to somebody, that things are that things are actually in a position of probability, and that it's actually kind of hard to determine whether or not, the smallest bit of an atom is, exactly where you think it is. It might be somewhere, but it's, just math. So you can get into some pretty weird fucking shit. But our brains can understand this stuff, okay? So getting back to my point about superintelligence not being superior to humans, until it is able to do that, until it is able to be better at every task forever and be the size of a human brain, it is not superior to humans. Now, assuming that this superintelligence doesn't design mirror life or some crazy virus that we have no defense against or some shit like that and kill everybody, assuming that doesn't happen, then the idea is that we have a superintelligent system that's able to help us crunch numbers and make calculations and discover knowledge that we would have taken us a lot longer to discover, that practically we wouldn't be able to discover for hundreds of years or some shit like that, right? Okay, cool. So now this super intelligent AI does all these mathematical calculations for us, and it discovers, things that we need it to discover. Cool. We then transfer the knowledge to us, and now we have that knowledge. So later generations of people not only will have the knowledge to build super intelligent AIs, they will also have the knowledge from previous super intelligent AIs, things that they've discovered, and that'll be integrated into their realm of knowledge. This new way of physics that works in this weird way, I understand that now because my teacher told me how it works. Because nobody's going to deny that it can do a task better than humans. That's irrelevant. Who cares? My car drives me down the road better than I would walk. My smartphone allows me to communicate information a lot better than me just getting on a horse and delivering a message. These are just tools for us to become smarter as humans. Every single time throughout history when someone or some group of people said we'll never understand X, history has spat in their fucking face. So these things that super intelligent AI are going to discover are not going to be things that we can't understand. It might take us a little bit longer to understand it, but we will understand it. Given enough time, our brains can understand. Dude, we understand quantum physics. We invented math. We invented calculus. AI fundamentally works on human inventions. All these things are what these AI systems run on. They run on information that we made. If they can use that information to think about something in a way that would take us a lot longer to do or that we can't, fine. It does the thing that we need it to do in the way that we can't. gets us the information that we need, and then we use that information to do stuff. Now, another thing that I am much better at an AI, even a super intelligent AI, something I'm much better at, is moving around in higher dimensions. That might not always be true, let's be clear. And what I mean by that is we live in 3D space, whereas an AI does not. It lives in 2D space, 1D space? It doesn't live in 3D space. But you could, make a body for it, and then it can move around in 3D space. So, and one of the best things about humans is that they're unpredictable. AI systems can be a little unpredictable as well because they are doing math that our brains, not that our brains can't do, it's that our brains can't do quickly. And so if we try to really go down and figure out which tokens it decided were the ones in the next sequence, and then it put them together in a certain way, and how it actually got there from the base level, we could backtrack that, but it would take us a long time to do just for one thought. Now, I completely forget why I was even talking about that. But for the time being, until a super intelligent AI is efficient enough to fit into something small, so I keep pointing at my head, we have brains. Until it has something as efficient as our brain, it's just never going to be as good as us. Because even if you have a robot, right, you need to have the entire data center, the whole model needs to be in the brain. And they're huge right now. And frankly, with our current technology, literally with our material science, we can't make chips smaller than they are because of physics. So in order to have something become more efficient, we have to switch materials. Maybe AI will help us figure out, I should say, AI will definitely help us figure out what kind of materials we can use. There's already candidates for different things, like graphene, although I don't know what's going on with graphene nowadays. But that's there's materials that we know of that can be used to make more efficient transistors and smaller ones. But right now, the transistors on a microchip made with the photolithography machines, they're is it 20 or 40? It's 20 or 40 atoms across. Guys, atoms, you can't make things smaller. Literally, it's impossible. And so even when you get to new materials, I don't know what this sort of thing looks like, but when you get to new materials that are more efficient, you still run into this problem where your transistors can only be so small. And our brains just fundamentally don't work this way. We don't work in binary. We can think in binary, but we're not we don't have a base 2. We don't count 2 numbers and then figure out what everything is all the way up from there. We count in base 10. So 10, 20, 30, 40, etc. And every digit between them, 1 to 10, 1 to 0. So yeah, anyway, so once AI is able to come up with the theory of everything, right? Something that we've been trying to do for a while, to describe every force of the universe in some grand unified theory. Once it's able to help us do that, it's not like this theory is going to be something that we can't understand. It's not going to have mathematical equations that we can't physically write on a chalkboard. It's just going to come up with a mathematical equation that we've never been able to think of before. And to think that we won't be able to understand that mathematical equation, you're just fucking crazy. We invented calculus, and I still don't know how that shit works. But a dude literally saw an apple fall out of a tree and invented calculus. He was like, damn, we don't have math to describe motions and stuff with all these laws that I'm discovering. Guess I'll have to make my own. Isaac Newton was an absolute genius, in case you didn't know. So as much as I absolutely loathe AI for a multitude of reasons, don't get too downtrodden on yourself quite yet, because your brain is, I don't know if there's a word to describe how much more efficient your brain is at doing stuff than all these data centers put together. It's ridiculous. A fucking fly has a way more efficient brain than a super intelligent AI, okay? But no, definitely a fly, because a fly's brain is really small, and it flies around, it has sensors and shit, it it can eat and sleep. It doesn't sleep. It can fly around and eat and do stuff, and it kind of knows what it's doing. It's got a pre-programmed thing going on, but it's real small. And then you get to human brains, and you've got to realize that, God, I cannot speak. Once we have a super intelligent system and we know how to make them, well, then we just know how to make them. Again, my car drives me better than me walking somewhere. My phone transfers information better than me getting on a horse and delivering a letter. Superintelligence is just a tool that we can use to become smarter as people. Do you think you can do what your fucking processor and your computer can do? Do you think you can think that fast right now? No. Yes, it'll be better at every possible thing that you can do. It's that you can think of. It can do the thing faster than you can do it. Cool, you can draw a picture instantly. I don't fucking care. No one wants it anyway. My computer is better at calculating math than I am. I don't care that a super intelligent AI is better at everything than I am. I am so much more efficient than it. I can make decisions, I have emotions, and I can move around in 3D space, and I can understand the information that it discovers. It's just a tool. Now, we've got to make sure that this tool doesn't fucking kill us, because if it is intelligent enough to design something like Mirror Life or design some sort of virus that there's no vaccine against, there's no like defense against, like it's designed that way, it is conceivable that it could take over systems to synthesize those things in the 3D world, and through like social engineering and other things like that could like have physical people, like human beings, take it out of the lab, accidentally release it. Like it can coerce people probably because we're really easy to manipulate. You know, conceptually, something pretty interesting that I'm thinking of as I'm speaking about this is that I said that AI, superintelligence and such, it exists, you know, in like a 1D space, 2D space, technically, I guess, because of the transistors, what it's composed of is two-dimensional, whatever. It exists in a lower dimension, but through its interface with humans, it can actually affect things in a higher dimension. That's kind of weird to think about, because it exists on a computer as like a solid object that like doesn't have any locomotion in 3D space, but it can like affect 3D space either through like social engineering where it like convinces a person to do something for it, or it takes over some system that like causes the centrifuges of a fucking enrichment plant to go crazy, like that one virus, like Stuxnet, something like that, where it can like design a virus that actually affects things in 3D space, like literally in a higher dimension than it. That's kind of wild to think about. Makes me wonder if humans can invent something that can interact with a higher dimension than we interact with, which would be time. Anyway, fleeting high thought. And so we need to put some sort of like regulation on it or something. We need to do something about it because like we're at a point now where we don't fully understand, like I was saying, the calculations it's making under the surface and like how it's coming up with answers and how it's thinking, especially these really, really advanced models. We don't understand what's going on. And that's to say that what it's doing is something that we could understand given enough time and like research into the logs and everything, but it's just not feasible for us to do all that work manually. And so we basically just say we don't understand because we don't have the time to dive into it. Now, whether or not we have the time to dive into it isn't really relevant if the end result is that we don't understand really what it's doing. And that's where shit gets a little scary. Now, I made a whole video about this, so go check that out, because I'm not going to rehash that. I probably will in a different video, maybe talking a little bit more about AI. Maybe I'll put my hair in something that doesn't look like a caveman. But I'm probably going to be making a lot of videos about this kind of stuff. I don't know where this channel's going. This is literally just like me talking into my camera, because I just can't stay silent anymore. I stayed silent for my entire fucking life. And I hate that I have to use social media to get my voice out there, but whatever at this point. Like, if that's what I gotta do, that's what I gotta do. So I'm not really sure where the direction of this channel is gonna go, but it's probably just gonna talk about a variety of different things. Like, this is just my personal channel. If you guys want to see something that isn't so personal, something that's a little bit more interesting, maybe, depending on your perspective, check out the Power Fisters, and I know it's a ridiculous name. It's a Warhammer thing. Check out that, and check out the Theory Hammer. They're both linked in the description, I think. I'm pretty sure I put that in the template. But yeah, Warhammer content, that's kind of like what I started with on YouTube, and then I made this channel separately from that, just to kind of fuck around, talk about stuff. Maybe people want to hear me talk about certain things, so whatever. But if you guys enjoyed the video, hit the like and subscribe button. Check out the other channels, you know, leave comments, and there's like a bell, I'm pretty sure. There's probably an OnlyFans at this point. There's probably a Patreon. There's probably like a Kickstarter and like a whatnot. We probably got links to like TikTok and Snapchat and Instagram and Facebook all in the description. Just kidding, I don't have any of that stuff. Yeah, this is generally how my videos end. Okay, well, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, I'll see you next time.